No, I'm using the other way. And the camera's on this side, but the camera's on this side, but I like the opposite. Oh yes, we are doing people in Minority paid 25. So mostly footballers and singers. There is some YouTubers. I would point out the YouTuber when I get there. But most of it is footballers. NFL players, also in American football. So this one, there's I think 71 people in this. Yep. Half of that is NFL players. There's 7 in each district, except for District 1 who had 8. In this rate, we have Jason Kelsey, Elvis Dumerville, Kyle Shushet, Walter Joe, Deion Center, Dudwell, and Ray Lewis, and Aaron Dillon. District 2, we have Derek Johnson, Antonio J.J. Watt, Jimmy Smith, Sean Alexander, Larry Allen, and Jason Taylor. 3, we have Dan Diorif, Everson Wall, Carl Bank, Torrey Holt, Jackson, Charles Young, Julio Jones. District 4, we have Yawboy 7, there's a YouTuber. Travis Kelsey, Bruce Smith, then we also have Versus Holders to the band. Charlie Woodson, Dave Robinson, not the NFL one, not the NBA. We will get there soon. Bruce Matthews. 5, we have Vince Guilford, Mike Alstott, Jerry Rice, Alan Fanka, Curtis Martin, Darrell Reeves, Reggie White. District 6, we have John Hanna, Patrick Kearney, Fletcher Hawk, Randall Cunningham, Joe Thomas, Martin Anderson, and Mike Ontario. District 7, we have Jeff Boston, Ed Reed, Ronde Barber, Kay Perry and Doris Senior, Jadian Thompson, Kelly O'Mac, and Kevin Jordan. District 8, we have Trent Williams, Lawrence Taylor, Vernon Davis, Russell Wilson, Rich Gannon, Sean Taylor, and Lynn Swan. Tristan Ryan, Marshawn Lynch, Celeste Martin, William Perry, Peyton Manning, Bobby Wagner, Ronnie Lott, Tony Gonzalez. In District 10, we have Mike Pouncey, John Lynch, Stephon Gilbert, Delphine O'Neal, Levante David, and Mean Joe Green, and Mike Marvin. And let's see this. Yes, there is events, I think, if I'm correct. Yeah, these are the same events, so. I'm going to return to start. It's the easiest way. Oh. I distribute stand on the podium to home sounds. Reggie White pushed Bobby Wagner off the cliff during the night fight. Vince Red first day of cornucopia for resources. Lawrence Taylor grabbed a sticky card towards body share in the kiddie pool. I know I spelled kiddie pool wrong. But Stephon Gilmore. Stephon Gilmore from Fenton from water. Kyle Juice runs away. Larry Allen finds the backpack from Championship. Joe runs away. Cameron, Peyton, and Levante and Travis grab everything together before running away. Patrick grabbed baby clothes. Mike grabbed girls' summer clothes. Damien snatched a pair of slice. Tony runs away. Dan grabbed a skirt. Marshall grabbed a baby stuff while Tori grabbed girls' stuff. JJ runs away. Everson's and Mike fight for a bait. Mike strangled Everson with the strap and runs. Randall runs away. By the way, this picture is from here on Oahu. This is the Pro Bowl in Hawaii. Julio takes a sickle from inside Cornfield. Elvis runs away. Michael runs away. Versus Rhodes runs away. John runs away. Jason runs away. Ronnie runs away. Derek runs away. The old boy Savage grabbed a dry fish tape while Lynn Swan got the fishing gear. Cleo grabbed baby stuff while Fisher Shot grabbed girls' stuff. Zach runs away. Russell runs away. Doug runs away. Dion grabs a shovel. That's not running a lot. That's Mike Singletary. I forgot your name, but. Mike's Singletary grab a drop prop. Aaron runs away. Carl runs away. Dave takes a spear that inside Scorpio. Jackie grab a girl backpack. Wilson grab a purse. Bruce runs away. Bruce Matthews. Charles next to Ronde runs away. Jeff grabs a shovel. Curtis runs away. William beats Sean knows for Breakfast Red. John runs away. Mean Joe runs away. Antonio and from throwing knife. Jerry runs away. Alan grab baby toy. Todd toy and kid toy. Rich runs away. Ray runs away. Delta find a boat. Somewhere on the river. Bruce Smith runs away. Sean Taylor missing. Jason find a canteen full of water. Jimmy scared Martin Anderson away. Trent runs away. Darrell runs away. Vernon grab a pull-up training pen. Charles runs away. Ed runs away. And Katie receives restoration from inside the cornucopia. Day 1. Fletcher attacked Charlie, but she eventually team against the state. Sean collects from a tree. Alan over here, Dud and Mike talking distant. Reggie thinks about home. Levante, Carson, Sanity, Westless, Mike, Kiliomet, and Jackie. Hunter, Tribute. No, Mike Ash, I guess. Mike still and Terry. And then we have Mike Bouncy up there. Bench receiving pressure mode on Hunter, Rich, Pitch, Flowers. Ed Reed Anthony stepped on the landmine. Oof. Travis injured himself. Charles turned Stefan into a girl. That makes sense now. Juice got that fruit from the tree. Dr. Neil steals from Cameron Jordan while he isn't looking. Tony Rodales received a sponsor from a monster. Neil Jones and Zach Martin on tribute. Katie and tricked by Thorn around Harry Duro Reese the entire day. Larry and JJ Hunter on tribute. Jeff and Aaron. Jeff Boston tracked down and killed Aaron Donald. Patrick Newt spurred the arena. Dan Dewar from North Dome Nursery Air for a day. Michael Irvin tried to fiercely trident. Ronnie Lotter and Curtis Martin to a grow. No, there's Russell Wilson. Bruce Smith traces Russell Wilson. That would make sense. Benjamin Thomas and George Thomas and William Perry get to fight. William Perry finally kills them both. Leon Center died from hypothermia. Randall Cunningham injured himself. Lynn Swan, Derek Johnson, and Lawrence Slater unturned tribute. Marshawn Lynch receiving water from a monster. Elvis is from the arena. Mike scared Yo-Boy Savage off. Ray makes a spear. Bruce Mesh chases Antonio Gate. Dave Robinson divert Morton Anderson attention and runs away. Troy Williams paid for John the he refuses to Charles wasn't alive. Jerry Rice and John Hannah Hunter tribute. Ronnie Mark Crescent Sanity. Sean Alexander Vernon Davis, Bacon Manu, Jason Taylor, and Jimmy Smith Uncharted tribute. Trent William died from hunger. Tori Holt, Mingo Jean, and Jason Nelson all question their sanity. What? So many people are questioning it. 8 times Tony Anderson, Bobby Wagner, Everson Wald, Ed Reed, Aaron Donald, David Thomason, Joe Thomas, Leon Sander, and Trent William. Night 1, John Lynn received mail stripe on a sponsor. Restless World fed Rondé Barber, Katie Perry, and Killian Matt from away from their father. John Hannah thinks about home. JJ Watt, I'm a tree arrest. Bruce Smith attempts to start a fire with the Cecil. Derek Johnson, Jeff Austin, and Big Manu releasing Suntier. Charles Nut in the Night Sky. Jason Taylor and Yo-Boy top up Chivit still alive. Reno 3, Mean Joe Green think about home. Duffel Neal receiving mail stripe on sponsor. Arbite receiving mail stripe on sponsor. Michael Irvin fed Julio Joe and Jackie Slater and Randall Cunningham away from his fire. Alice Simmer think about winning. Buster Crop grab himself asleep. Sean Taylor yelled up for the night. Kevin Jordan and William Taylor fire unable to start a fire to sleep about warm. Mike Cemetery think about winning. Mike Bouncy quietly hums. Lawrence Taylor put Lynn Swan in papers. Oops. Sean Vander and Bruce Matthews hold his hand. Jerry Rice in the role from Night Pair. Vernon Davis received explosive from an unknown sponsor. Tony Zola attended to Martin Anderson wounds. Marshawn Lynch set Ray Lewis on fire from Olymp. Curtis Martin chronically hums. Ray Shannon defeat Travis Selfie in the fight but spares his life. Larry Allen, Jimmy Smith, and Mike Alsop. Henry Kearney and Ronnie Lott Stephen Schiff. Todd Williams, Ralph, and my anchor. Tori Holt to Charles Wounds. Russell Wilson, Alan Shannon, Daryl Reese, Stephen Schiff. Dan Jordan finished talking to him before putting on Niner. Vince Shellford, Zach Martin, Levante David, assessed the game right after in the morning. Dave Robinson tends to his wounds. Red White received 5 wounds on the roster. Antonio Gate, Pricing Hum. Stephon Gilmore, Patrick from Austin. Liam Perry put Jason Kelsey in David and Walter Jones, Preston Stanley. Had Juice set down for the night. Day 2, Y'all Boys 7, the first Yanni Lots, attention on the way. Jimmy Smith, a smoke resistant with the next mate. Rich Gannon makes a slingshot. Bruce Master turned in Jackie Slayer into a girl. Dory Holt receiving fresh fruit on almost monster. Kevin Jordan, John Hanna, Jeff Boston, Emilio Green, Rain, Paranoid, Cunningham, Camp Ozzy's hunting. Jerry Racing fell home. Antonio Gate, Charles Wilson, Elvis Dumerville, and Sean Taylor raid Patrick Carnival at camp while he's hunting. Fester caught Gravel Tire Ground. Khalil Mack killed Tony Gonzalez on the weapon. Charlie Malone and tricked by a third round pick berries. Leo Jones seen battles fight from receiving water from a hunter. Vin Roser put Alan Frank on diapers. Derek Johnson chased Doug Baldwin. Russell Wilson and Jason Taylor worked together for a day. Juice scared Sean Alexander off. Lynn Swan scrambled Mike Alsett with a rope. Stephon Gilmore fell home. Morton Emerson trap killed Jordan Davis. Dan Dewar is pricked by a thorn brown picking berries. Oh, I'm not showing you. Katy Perry tried to sleep the entire day. Bruce Smith pressured Mike Pouncey head in with mace. Mike Morton and Dave Martin worked together for a day. Jordan Martin became fresh with a monster. Zach Martin accidentally stepped on the landmine. John Lynn divert Grande Barber attention on Zoe. O'Neill Espargarina, Darrell Rivas stopped Jason Kelsey. Restless Road, Carl Bank, Pink Mini, and the Real and Uncharted Tribute. Marshall didn't receive the from one concert. Walker Jones and Daniel was to convince Lawrence Taylor to not kill him. Mike Cemetery is where the arena. Jade Watt fishes. Levante did even collect football tree. William Perry killed Travis Kelsey for his supply. And Reggie White tries Peter Fisher Sharian. Ooh. Your first arena event in BMG, so BMG is like a car game where you can actually crash stuff. So the first one, there are actually 2 BMGs. This is the first one. The second one is run over. This is there's so many car crashes in real life, so I mean, we went out of it. This is car crash. Randall and Cunningham did not survive. William Perry, Restless Road did. Katy Perry didn't. JJ Watt survived. Rhonda did. Jason didn't, though. Jackie did. Delpha did. Tori did. Marshawn didn't. Elvis didn't. Ronnie didn't. Morton didn't. John survived. Kyle survived. Jimmy Smith didn't. Leo Jones didn't. Charlie won. Charlie, Carl, Sean did. Curtis didn't. Lynn didn't. Vince survived. Derek survived. Charles survived. Jeff survived. Cameron didn't. Doug didn't. John didn't. John Lynch. Dave Robinson. Rich Canyon. Bruce Smith survived. Mino Jean didn't. Ron White survived. Jerry Rice survived. Daryl Rivas didn't. Nine survived. Michael Urban survived. Y'all Boy Savage didn't. Hank didn't survive. Bruce Messer survived. Patrick Kearney survived. Larry Allen survived. Stephon Gilmore did not. Dan Duriff did not. Lawrence Taylor did not. Phil Matt survived. Sean Taylor didn't. Russell Wilson didn't. Jason Taylor didn't. Levante didn't. Mike Cemetery survived. William Yates survived. Fletcher Scott survived. 34 Shannon shot you distant. Ray Lewis, Tony Zellis, Mike Allsett, Vernon Davis, Mike Pouncey, Zach Martin, Walter Jones, Travis Nelson, Randall Cunningham, Katy Perry, Randall Cunningham was the first one. Jason Kelsey, Marshawn Lynch, Elvis Somerville, Ronnie Lott, Martin Anderson, Jimmy Smith, Leo Jones, Curtis Martin, Lynn Swan, Kevin Jordan, Doug Baldwin, John Lynch, Dave Robinson, Mean Joe Green, Darrell Rivas, Y'all Boy Savage, Alan Fenka, Juan Gilmore, Dan Duriff, Lawrence Taylor, Sean Taylor, Russell Wilson, Jason Taylor, Vontae David. Whew. The only one in District 1 is Kyle Sushet. There's 4 District 5. There's five in District 2. Derek Johnson, Antonio J.D. Watt, Sean Alexander, and then Rihanna District 3. You have 4 at Carl Bank, Charlie Young, Jesse State, and Tori Hope. 4 we have Bruce Smith, Restless Road, Charles Wilson, and Bruce Smash. 5 we have Vince Redford, Jerry Rice, and Jerry's Right. 6 we have John Hanna, Pastor and Fastest Potts and Mike Singletary. District 7, we have Jeff Bossett, Ronde Barber, and Khalil Mack. District 8, we have Rich Gannon. District 9, we have Peyton Manning and William Perry. District 10, we have Delphin Neal and Michael Irvin. Night 2, Bruce Mackey loses sight for a sheet of where he is. Carl Bank and John Hanna sleeping shift. Charlie Lund get Rich into a shelter. Jackie Slater is seen plus sulfurs from Malone sponsor. Michael Irvin stepped down for the night. Juice tend to reckless from old wounds. Vince feel for the night with tire fire and stay felt warm. Mike Singletary received food from Malone sponsor. Tori Holt stepped down for the night. Jay Watt fed Sean Alexander and Khalil Mack and Jeff Bossett away from his fire. Carl Wilson and Jerry Rice top up tribute still alive. Fletcher caught scenes fire with St. Taylor and Reggie White set up again for the night. Bruce Smith started a fire. Delphin Neal at the night sky. Larry Antonio Nate, Pink Manny, and Derek Johnson sleeping shift. Patrick Kearney and Ronde Barber tell a story about themselves to each other. And William Perry loses sight where he is. Day 3 is Sean Alexander injured himself. Sean Hanna, Tori Holt, Richard Gannon, and Larry Allen raid Ronde Barber camp while he's hunting. Antonio Gate received medals from on sponsor. Mike Singletary take Pink Manny food killing him. JJ Watt makes the one slingshot. Juice Travis diagram. Jesse Slater skilled from Derek Johnson while he isn't looking. Bruce Smith tend to Jeff Bossett wounds. Perry Scott Charles Woods. Khalil Mack over here's Reggie White and Carl Wilson talking distant. Bruce Messenger over a cave. Francis Road attacked Carl Bank by Fletcher caught protect him, killing Wessex the road. Matt Kearney and tricked by Thorn by McMary. Mike Lover, Travis Tyler down, Win for certain Jerry Rice for day, and Delphin Neal makes a win sphere. 2 times Hunterton, Peyton Manny, and Wessex the road. Night 3, Charles Young, Reggie White, JJ Watt, and Larry Allen dealt each other doses like the moon. Carl Bank and the neighbors try to fire and sleep up warm. Juice loses sight where he is. Sean Allen turned Ronde Barber into a girl until the man cries himself to sleep. Rich Gannon and Tori Holt run into each other and just tried to during the night. Vince feel for it let Antonio get into a shelter. Lester caught Delphin Neal and Michael Irvin sleeping shift. Charles Woodson tend to Jeff Bossett wounds. Bruce Smith let John Hanna into a shelter. Jackie Slater received clean water from a sponsor. Jerry Rice died from thirst. Patrick Kearney crimes was trying to sing himself to sleep. Derek Johnson fell home. William Perry turned Mike Singletary into a girl at Bruce Mackey's time for your rest. Day 4, Sean Allen, Tracy Charles Wilson. William Perry received pet food from one sponsor. Patrick Kearney attacked Vince Rowe for but he managed to escape. Khalil Mack put Rich Gannon dead. No, I think Rich Gannon Khalil Mack might be the only current player still left. And Sniper and Jesse Slater, the Smarty Arena, Derek Johnson divert Bruce Smith's attention on William. Oh, and Juice. Jeff Bossett received pet food from one sponsor. Juice stopped John Hanna. Carl Banks picked by Thornwell picked Mary. Antonio Gate makes a slingshot. Bruce Matthews received clean water from one sponsor. Charlie Jones beat Mike Irvin in the fight by sparing his life. JJ Watt turned Tori Holt into a baby. Fletcher caught himself. Mike Singletary also injured himself. Reggie White runs away from Ronde Barber, and Delphin Neal killed Larry Allen as he tries to run. 2 times Anderson, Jerry Rice, and Larry Allen. Night 4, Antonio Gate set up camp for the night. Carl Bank defeat Khalil Mack in the fight, but spared his life. Patrick Kearney, Justin Slater, Fisher caught Bruce Mackey, dealt each other goals already like noon. JJ Watt and Kyle and Juice sleeping shift. Finn for Mike Irvin, Charles Wilson, and Reggie White dealt each other goals already like the moon. Bruce Smith is Mike Singletary old hand. William Perry falls in frozen lake and drowned. Delphin Neal pressed Jeff Bossett at against the rock several times. Charles Young don't sleep. Derek Johnson destroyed Sean Alexander to fly while he is asleep. Chris Gannon fed John Hanna, Tori Holt, and Ronde Barber away from his fire. Day 5, Khalil Mack scared Sean Alexander off. Antonio Gate questioned insanity. Patrick Kearney runs away from Bruce Matthews. Charlie Young and Corey Holt uncharged tribute. Juice, Reggie White, Bruce Smith, and Mike Irvin raid Mike Singletary and kept out his hunting. John Hanna, Judy White, and Richard Rich Gannon uncharged tribute. Rose and Vin Wilford set up from short resources. Jackie Slater turned Fletcher Scott into a girl, and Ronde Barber died from infection. Carl Bank and Delphin Neal uncharged tribute, and Derek Johnson practices archery. 3 Times Henderson, William Perry, Jeff Bossett, and Ron D. Barber. Night 5, Dr. Neal and Carl Banks, College Jets, and J.J. Watt's Lincoln Schiff. Tori Holt turned Reggie White into a baby. Matt stabbed Bruce Smith in the back of the train. Derek Johnson killed Mason Terry, says Schiffel. Vince Wilford is on the stairs and sleep out warm. Fletcher Scott and John Hanna sleep until he started himself about them. Story about themselves he started. Rich Jen tried to rearrest. Antonio D. pressed out and exhausted. Michael and Jesse Slater and she started to decide to truce for the night. Charles Young tried to sleep the interesting. Sean Alexander tried to treat Izzy Young. Bruce Metro asleep and Patrick Kearney annoyingly eat toxberries. Day 6. Charlie on the scene, mail sign from a monster. Tori Holt thinks about home. Mike Horan over here, Jared Johnson and John Hannon talking distant. J.D. Watt traveled to higher ground. Delphine Neal attacked Jesse Slater, but he managed to escape. Matt over here, Fletcher Scott, Richard Jannon, and Rich Shannon talking distant. Antonio Gate, December River, Juice, Pick Flowers, Bruce Matthews starts the water force. Reggie White, certainly injured Vince Fort, but put him out of misery. Carl Wilson tried to fear Fisher Riot, and Chanel stopped Carl Banks. 4 Times Henderson, Bruce Smith, Mike Singletary, and Patrick Kearney, and Vince Fort. Night 6, Antonio Gates started a fire. Reggie White put Dalton into a baby crib, then Mike the pacifier and mount. John and J.J. Watt and Derek Johnson discussed the what happened in the morning. Matt and Sean Alexander told for warmth. Carl Bank and Carl Young and Charles Bank sleeping shift. Bruce Messenger and Professor fell into the grill. Rich Drowning tree for help. Tori Holt and Jesse Slater run to her and decided to the lake. And Kyle just set thanks to Carl Wilson wounds. Day 7, Sean Alexander discovered Cave. Carl Young uncharted. Bruce Messenger discovered a babe. Cave. Charles Wilson turned Cleo Matt into a baby. J.J. Watt, Mike Harmon, Rich Gannon tracked down and killed Derek Johnson. John Hanna makes a leading shot. Tori Holt received a saucer from an old puncher. And Kyle Shusett thinks about home. Reggie White cut that fruit from the tree. Don't Neal scared Antonio Gate off. Carl Bank makes someone appear. Fletcher caught himself and Jesse Slater and tripped by a thorn over carrying. Willing Ken Huntington, Derek Johnson. Night 7, Mike O'Reilly and O'Neill start a fire. Khalil Matt goes to sleep. Sean Allen received a self-assist from a monster. Jerry Watt tends to his wound. John Anna, underneath top Sperry. Kyle Suchet reportedly stabbed Tori Holt dead as a slice. Charlie Wilson is for help. Jesse Staring tends to his wound. Rich Shannon and others started a fire and sleep out warm. Charlie Young dealt near a flesh shot really right tracked down and killed Carl Banks. 28 quietly come and Bruce Mason died from hunger. The feast, the cornerstones with food, supply, weapon, and members from Shivio family. Antonio Gate killed Charles Shusett with a hatchet. Sean Alexander, Fletcher Scott, Carl Wilson, and Khalil Matt form a suicide pact, killing themselves. Mike Horman decided not to face. Rich Shannon throws a knife into Charles' head. Reggie White shooting arrow at Jackie Slater was missing and killed Delphine Neal. And J.J. White cannot and knows the search men submit suicide. So we have Antonio Gate, Mike Horman, Rich Shannon, Reggie White, Jackie Slater. Day 8. Rich Shannon searches for a water source. Antonio Gate steals from Mike Horman while he isn't looking. Reggie White steals from Jackie Slater while he isn't looking. Telephone Anderson, John Hanna, Tori Holt, Carl Bank, Bruce Macken, Kyle Shusett, John Alexander, Ross, Charlie Wilson, Khalil Matt, Charlie Young, Jonathan Neal, and J.J. Watt. Night 8. Antonio Gate and Jackie Slater huddle for warmth. Reggie White, Mike Horman huddle for warmth, and Richard trying to sleep in distraction. Day 9. Richard totally stabbed Jackie Slater to death with a slice. Antonio Gate fishing ready to right 10 to Mike wounds. Wounds. One kind of distant Jackie Slater. Night 9. Reggie White killed Mike Horman's assassin Richard at the night side. Antonio Gate tried to sing himself to sleep. Day 10. Antonio Gate died tremendously, and Rich Scannon bashed Reggie White head against the rocks several times. 3 times Anderson, Michael Irvin, Antonio Gates, and Reggie White. And your winner is Rich Scannon. Rich had 4 kills, Reggie White had 5. That's a lot of kills. I know this is 100 game. People died in the event. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, And there was like 34 debt, right? Yeah, there was 4 to 34 debts. And if you skills, and if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 debts. Count 8 debts. 34 minus 8. That's a lot of debts. That's so. That's how much this is. You do that math. Yeah, I'm not doing that math right now. Yeah, that's about it though. You can figure that out on your own. Here's all the skills. That's, yeah, Ready, Right, and Rich and M, 2 most skills. Yep, so make sure you like, subscribe, and share.